evening. I'm Chase Miller. Welcome to the YourLiveEvent.com Coaches Show as presented to you by the Hillsborough Economic Development Corporation. This week on the program, we'll talk a little Shanley track and field with Barry Anderson and Chris Foerster here, the co-head coaches, as we will be partaking in the Shanley track and field invite, in which you can watch right here on YourLiveEvent.com starting tomorrow morning on Thursday at 10:30 with the field events. All the EDC teams, you have Moorhead, Oak Grove, Central Cass, and Kindred going to be on the south side of Fargo upcoming tomorrow. From there, Kent Christensen from BGMR Softball will be joining the program. We'll talk a little Fosston baseball as well. Dustin Maasjo from Central Cass Baseball will be joining us, and then we'll have our senior spotlight with James Throener from Sargent County. Let's get into our conversation, talking a little track and field here on the YourLiveEvent.com Coaches Show. Well, join us, part of the co-head coaches here for the Shanley Deacon track and field team. Join us is Barry Anderson and Chris Foerster. And guys, first things first, I know when I was in high school at Shanley in the 2000s, it was talked about that there would be a football field, a track and field, and everything else, and you have to go through phases like anything else. So now that the track is officially here on the south side of Fargo, you're hosting your very first meet coming up. Just what does it mean to be hosting a meet that is in the Shanley grounds, so to speak, and not at Concordia, not at Fargo South, not at Fargo Davies, where it is in the backyard there of Fargo Shanley? We'll start with Barry first.
Well, it's been an incredible opportunity for us to actually watch the track, go in, get all the equipment ordered, and the number of people involved, from administration to parents to donors to alumni, all making it happen. And with that said, we think it's a first-rate facility. It's very spectator and user-friendly. And obviously, from a coaching point of view, it's been a blessing to walk out and go on the track and have our athletes get right to their workout and take part in all of that. So it's just been a long wait, but well worth the wait. So we're very happy.
And similar question to you, Chris, also participating, being a former alumni as well. Just kind of what does it mean to see everything come to fruition here?
Yeah, the talk of a track has always been a part of the program since I was in high school, and just why we're here, why don't we have a track? Why don't we have, and then I could be a coach, and same question was always there, like, why can't we have that too? And to finally, and we even joked that it would never be by the time his grandkids were through, or maybe my kids would see it. And the truth is that is happening. My son is a ninth grader, and he's getting the chance to compete on his own home track. I have younger kids as well who are looking forward to that chance. It's been great practicing on it, like Coach Anderson said, and to be able to see it be built. But when we started hosting, we had our first meet last Friday or a couple Fridays ago, and it was that was it. That kind of confirmed it and solidified it and made it real for the first time to actually be able to go out there and do it at our own place, to start our warm up on our field, pray on our shield, and then get ready for a meet on our own track. It was fantastic.
The one thing with spring sports is, particularly in baseball and softball and even golf to a degree, you can only do so much inside, and same thing for track and field. Indoor to outdoor is a little bit different with the elements, but what's it like now, whether it's hosting an event or actually able to go out and do the relays, do the jumps, work on the throws? You can do all that stuff just in one facility. Barry, what's that like, instead of piecemealing a schedule around of a parking lot or some hallways and everything else, where you can say, nope, you can go on the 100 and work on the 100, for example?
Well, we've been fortunate the last few years that knowing that we don't have our own facility, we've been blessed to get over to Concordia Olson Forum and participate in the evening on their track. So we've kind of gotten the work in necessary for preparation and that type of thing. But in reality, it still isn't the same as walking out your door and having your facility right there. We were looking at, just from a weather point of view, that we would probably go over to Concordia 10 to 15 times in March in the last few years. And this year we only went over there twice, and both of them weather related. So in that sense, it's been an okay spring, and our kids, we've saved some money by not practicing over at Concordia, but it's just been tremendous walking out, having a practice on our track, and being able to do everything. And obviously, having a 400 track with every facility available is different than practicing indoors at Concordia. And I might mention Concordia was very, very good to us and Coach Rusky. But again, there's no comparison between having our own track and going somewhere else.
Chris, for you, you mentioned your son, but what's just the students' point of view? What are they kind of, when they finally got the opportunity to step foot on it the first time, when they saw everything, come and actually be, hey, we can actually go on the field now. It's not just a soccer or football field where maybe you can do some stuff to get workouts in. It's now we can actually do what you want to do from a track standpoint or do what you want to do from a field standpoint. Just take us through what it was for the students their first time on that surface.
It's been kind of a gradual process because the track fell a little bit behind schedule. They couldn't get the surface done in time for last spring. We did have asphalt down, and so we were able to make use of that. It was a start, and it was a step up from having to be out on the soccer fields or leave. We could do the same kinds of workouts some, and that was good. And then over the last summer, they finalized they finished that surface, and then cross country got some of the first cracks at it, and they right away there's not that you're out there every practice for cross country. You do a lot of other things, but to be able to get on a marked out track and know your distances and know your paces and know your times and that kind of specific workout helps a lot. It was great last fall. Kids appreciated it. They thrived with it. And then this spring to get out there, we were lucky. It was warm right off the get-go. So we were out there even in March a few times. I think we got out on the track, which was great. It helps, like from a coaching standpoint, to be able to go out to work on relays, to work on hurdles, to work on blocks on a track versus a dusty gym floor where you're slipping all over the place. So that has helped a lot. Just being able to walk to a relay zone and explain it because we're there. It's right there, and they understand what the zones are, what the starts are, what the lines are. There's a lot more knowledge that comes for the kids when they have that opportunity. And Barry mentioned Concordia. We've been really blessed to have Davies was always willing to let us in there, and we practiced there. We practiced at South often. So we're always great. We've been so grateful to those teams for welcoming us on, and we hope to return the favor. We know that there's other schools that may need that track from time to time, so we'll be just like that and open up our doors to them.
Yeah, nice thing is you're not nomads anymore. You finally have a firm camp, so to speak, going forward. Barry, take us through just what this particularly event means to you for folks that are going to be participating in it, for those that will be coming out and watching it. What can they kind of expect once we get to Thursday morning and Thursday afternoon?
Well, first of all, we're hoping the weather holds up. We've always felt that no matter what happens, if the weather's good, everybody in track and field has pretty much a good day, and we're grateful to be out there and competing. And when weather isn't as good, then you kind of look for things that could go wrong, and it just a tough situation. So one thing I found in 40 years of coaching track and field, you definitely are at the mercy of the weather, especially in North Dakota. So we're hoping for that right away. With that said, we have an outstanding field of teams, all 12 EDC teams, Moorhead, who's got a very good team, and some Class B teams, Oak Grove, Central Cass, and Kindred are all real powerhouses in Class B in North Dakota track and field. So they're there. And then when you throw in our feature race, we've added teams from South Dakota for that race, the 300 hurdles. And overall, it's just, we think, an outstanding field and perhaps maybe the best competition they'll see until EDC or state at this point. So if you're a track fan, it should be a great day to get out and watch these athletes perform.
Chris, as a coach, what are you kind of going through during this time of the year? Because there is a buildup, right? You go from the indoor season to an outdoor season to hoping, as Barry said, you have weather to actually get the meets in outdoors, qualify for state before you get off to Bismarck there in late May. But what's this time of the year kind of like for you as a coach?
You're right. You do need these meets. You need a big meet like this. We need small meets, and we need ones that can get through quickly, and we just get the work in on those days and accomplish some things. But nothing compares to a meet where you're going to have that top-notch competition. Kids, they elevate when those opportunities come around. Distance runners, they need others pushing them. Relay teams need that moment of, okay, now we're up against some of the best. It just elevates what they're able to do, and it's a step in that progression towards EDC and state. So we're glad that our meet is one of those. We're glad, and we know that kids will appreciate an opportunity to get together with some of the best around to test themselves.
I know this is a question for both of you, and it's more of a long-term question, but what's just the community been like for the students? Like any sport, you're always wanting to get kids in your program respectively, and now you have something that is, in your backyard in the respective Shanley community that's there with track and field. But what do you think this will do short-term, long-term for Shanley track and field, again, having, the own track, the own field, the everything that is truly yours?
Well, for us, it's very obvious that our participation numbers are as high as they've ever been coming in. We run somewhere between 100 and 120 students in track and field in grades 7 through 12, and this year our numbers were around 140. So it's no surprise that we've got added participation. And as you know, track and field is a participation number sport, and the more you get out, the better your team is. You get them out for many reasons, to have their goals and to compete. Their friends are there, but they also know track and field helps them in many other sports with all of the things that are going on as far as training. But at the same time, there's no question that having our own facility has driven the numbers up. And we're looking short term and long term, and I think the program will just get stronger. I think what in the past we've had outstanding individuals throughout our history in track and field, and I've been fortunate enough to be around a lot of them. But overall, I think the program will be on a continual rise and stay very competitive, even though we're probably the smallest school in Class A. But we think the program will be strong as a result of our facility.
Final thing for me, for you, Chris, is as much as it is track and field, are you seeing other sports or other people? How excited were they when you guys finally had, your own facility? Just take us through what that was like, hearing from other coaches or other parents or students, kind of that maybe aren't in track and field, seeing everything come to fruition here.
Right. Yeah, I mean, in the building process, there was a lot of excitement. I heard from people, I thought you already had a track, and no, they just assume every football field, every stadium you go to, you look down there and there's a track, but no, we didn't. And so there was excitement. Oh, that'll be great. That'll be great. As it started to happen this spring and we got ready for that first meet, just being able to announce at school, hey, come out after school, there's a track meet. And we had kids coming out and in their school uniforms, you could see them just lined up in the bleachers, teachers out there up against the fence watching the races. And track and field's a sport like a lot that doesn't get the fanfare that football or basketball does always. So to have it closer to home where they can just get out there and see it, it's going to build enthusiasm through the whole school. And we can definitely feel that already. I think this meet that we're talking about today will be a big event. It'll be a huge event and great for the school. Great atmosphere. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Hey, Chris, Barry, thanks so much for your time and looking forward to seeing you there on the south side of Fargo.
We appreciate the fact that you're willing to come out and help us promote the great event that track and field is. And like Coach mentioned, it doesn't always get the recognition. So we're all about pushing the sport forward and rewarding our kids for their efforts. So having coverage like you guys are going to give us, we think is a great step in the right direction for promoting the sport. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Chase.
All right, I'm sitting here with the head coach of the Badger Greenbush Middle River softball team, Coach Kent Christian. Coach, I want to start off with you and your team. Not only are you a multifaceted coach, also coaching basketball in the winter, but your team is multifaceted as well. Many of your girls playing 2 to 3 sports for the Gators. Start off with, how is it not only as you as a coach, but your players as well being multi-sports athletes help contribute to your excellent play on the field in the spring?
I think we're very fortunate that we do have multiple sport athletes, especially in a day when you've got student athletes who are starting to specialize. And I'm just thankful that they get to hear the voice of, 1 to 2 other coaches, and Coach Stacy Dahl, Coach Brad Dahl, also with Coach Novacek in the wrestling room. So, we're happy that they're in multiple sports. I think that's what high school is all about. And the biggest thing that I see is the competitive part. They're in other sports, so they're being competitive, which we like.
And traditionally, BGMR has been a very good team in softball up here in northern Minnesota. I mean, looking at your schedule, your season from last year, you went 17-6, and it came down to the final game against Red Lake Falls in the Section 8A championship game that led to the end of your season. Let's start there. How was that season for your team last year in that tough loss in the final game before state?
Brandon, why do you media people keep bringing up the last game of the year last year, man? You guys trying to kill me, drive me into the grave, or what?
Trying to get your thoughts on it, Coach.
You know what? The year ended disappointing. I thought that, we had the state tournament trip in our grasp and kind of let it slip away. And that's not to take away from what Red Lake Falls did, because they turned around and beat us that second game too. So, and they were a great representative at the state tournament. We just thought we had one there. And when you suffer a loss like that, it does take away from all the good things that happened during the regular season, and the amount of wins we had, the good softball that we did play to get to that point. So it stings. It's probably still a loss that, I've talked to other coaches. You lose one like that, you probably won't ever get over it. So, but again, we move on and ready for this year. And, I think we're playing okay right now. Probably not our best, but we've got about 3 to 4 weeks to get that straightened out.
Yeah, and talking about this year, you started off tough, started off well, beating Norman County East 15-1, and then getting a game back on Red Lake Falls 8-7 at Red Lake Falls. Currently sit 5-5 this season. You're going to be playing Red Lake Falls again this week. Was supposed to be on Tuesday. It's been postponed now to Friday. The team is, like you said, the team is looking like they're starting to figure it out. But what is the main key you're going to have to fix to get ready to go for the back half of the season and for the playoffs?
I think it's going to be consistent pitching. If we get that with Kaylee and JC, anybody else needs to step in. We're going to be a tough team to beat. I think Kaylee and JC have both shown signs of being shut down pitchers, but they put themselves into trouble with some walks. Now, last game was the exception. Kaylee threw a 2-hitter and still lost. So, and JC, I thought, even though Thompson scored 8 runs, I think 2 of them were earned. So our defense let us down a little bit there. We're traditionally a pretty good defensive team. Offensively, I think we've been just fine against East Grand, where we lost 2-1. We just didn't come up with that big 2-out hit. And generally in the playoffs, that's what it's all about. Who can get that big hit at the right time.
Mm-hmm. Well, and the good thing for your team too is in the next couple of weeks you have 6 games left. 5 are at home, all in Greenbush. So is it going to be helpful for your team to be able to have most of those games at home to kind of force teams to have to come to your place and play and win to get you ready to go for the playoffs?
And I'm looking at our schedule here. I think we have 9 games left.
Okay, I'm looking. The schedule I have is showing 6. So I'm missing probably 3 of those games.
Yeah, we have our tournament that we host on May 10th.
Okay.
So that would be 3 games. No, it'll be good to be home. We spent our first part of the season on the road, which was just fine. Hopefully we have a little bit better weather than what we do today. The rest of the week looks pretty good. And, I always tell the girls, before you know it, playoff time will be here. This season, it goes quick. once you start playing, you really start going. We've got quite a few games in. We try to front load our schedule just in case we do get good weather, and that leaves some dates for makeup dates. But hopefully we won't need them. Might be able to give the girls a day off here and there, but before you know it, playoffs will be here.
Yeah. And you talked about your pitching stuff a little bit. I want to talk about the rest of your players as well. And the games you've won this year, outside of that first game against Red Lake Falls, your team has won big with scores of 15-1, 21-3, 15-5, 18-8. So it seems when your girls are on, they are on when they are hitting at the plate. What has that success being attributed to with the girls on the offensive side of the ball?
Well, I think a lot of it is we have, especially the top part of our lineup, juniors and seniors playing. Girls that have played quite a bit. They're good hitters. The scary part is I think a couple of them haven't quite caught their stride yet, and if they do, I think we'll be even more tough offensively. So you look like at our 1 through 5 hitters, lots of experience, and 6, 7, 8, 9, very, very capable of putting the ball in play and getting on base. So if those guys can really set the table, we can put up a lot of runs. But again, you run in against that good chucker, and you better have some good at bats, because they're not going to walk people or give you runs. So, and then hats off to East Grand who did that. I mean, they played outstanding.
And you also had a big week this last week. 2 of your players hitting 100 career hits, including JC Hansen being one of them. Talk a bit about JC and how important she's been for this team these last few seasons.
Yeah, I mean, JC's rock solid at third base, plays really well, has hit very well. She's kind of chasing her sister in the hits category. Her sister Kinsley has 130 plus. Kinsley made it known to me that I wasn't supposed to let her sister catch her, so we might have to sit her down a couple of games. But no, JC's, she's been probably a 3-4 year starter. Again, rock solid at the plate, and again, I think she can hit even better. Couple things in her swing that we've talked about, and she gets those corrected, she'll be tough.
All right. And you mentioned too, a lot of your players in the top half of your order, seniors, juniors. Let's talk about that senior class. You've got a very good senior class, a part of this team. How much have they been crucial to helping build the BGMR softball program their 4 years before they head off to college and to whatever they're going to do post graduation?
Well, I mean, they've been huge. I mean, they've grabbed the mantle and just carried it. With Mackenzie and Quinn and Kieran and JC, they know what being a part of this program is like. Sometimes there's a lot of pressure on an individual just because of the success we've had in the past, and they've been just fine with that. So hats off to them. Definitely going to be missed. We probably haven't had 4 seniors for quite some time. So as much as you don't want to see them go, you like to see them grow up and become their own person. So hopefully we can extend their careers into June.
All right. Well, Coach, thanks for your time. Let's get back to your other job of teaching at Badger Greenbush Middle River, and we'll see you on Friday when you guys take on Red Lake Falls.
Well, Brandon, you're not even going to ask me about Tegan Lansrud and her 100th hit? Or is that for another day?
We'll go with that. Tegan Lansrud, 100 hits. She also with JC Hansen as well. Tegan, I think I believe she's an upperclassman, correct? Or she's still a sophomore?
I wish she was a sophomore. No, she's a junior. Tegan's an outstanding player, and probably one that we often take for granted just because she makes some things look easy. Mm-hmm. I have to stay on her quite a bit, just trying to get her to that next level. But again, I think she's at 102 career hits now. So she's dangerous at the plate. So it was really good to see her and JC get the milestone, and Mackenzie Dahl's right behind them. So hopefully this week Mackenzie can pass that milestone. So to have 3 in 1 year, that's a pretty big deal.
So then we'll stay on this real quick, just to make sure we have it. So you have 3 positive 1 year. Is there anyone who's getting close to that number besides those 3 who you could possibly have 4 in 1 year?
I would say that Quinn Vasseur would have an outside chance, but we'd have to make a pretty deep run into the playoffs, and she would have to, hit it at a pretty good clip, which she can, but yeah, it'd be an outside chance.
Right, so at least possibly 3, maybe out an outside chance for 100 hitters this year, career hitters this year for the Gators. So we'll make sure to give them their flowers on the broadcast whenever we have them on there for those hits and make sure we don't get them wrong next time. Well, again, Coach, thanks for your time, and we will see you later.
All right, appreciate it. Thank you.
Treat yourself to a great career at American Crystal Sugar Company. Team up with quality people making quality products. Full-time and year-round in a stable business. With great pay and benefits including time off available from day one. American Crystal Sugar Company invests in you to promote your continued growth and career advancement. Grow your career doing your best work within the world's best beet sugar company. Apply online today at AmericanCrystalCareers.com.
Don't be fooled by that beat-up old cap. Its faded crown represents the tireless work of America's farmers and ranchers. Its sturdy brim, their dedication to providing our nation with a safe, affordable food source. So we'd like to tip our hat to them. Farmers Union Insurance, protecting those that protect America's food source.
Visit with Ryan Opdahl, your local Farmers Union Insurance agent in Hillsborough.
Growers, prepare your fields and yields against the wet conditions for 2025 and beyond with a drain tile project from Chad's Excavating out of Mayville. Drain tiling will improve and increase your yields and land values for years to come. Chad's Excavating provides free, detailed estimates, and with over 40 years of combined success, they provide professional installation and service. Call Chad today to prepare for your future and any questions that you might have. That's Chad's Excavating out of Mayville, helping farmers grow.
Well, the Fosston Greyhound baseball team, their season well underway. They played over in Ada yesterday. Coach Ryan Hanlon here to talk Greyhound baseball. A couple of games in already this week.
Yeah, it's been nice to finally get outside and get on a field. Our field's still not ready yet, so we haven't been on ours yet. We haven't had a chance to practice outside yet, but nice to get some games in, and that's been good. And so, like we talked so many times, you have to utilize those early season games as practice, and that's what we've been doing. Been a struggle in some areas at some times, but really seeing a lot of positive things too. So it's early in the season.
Yeah, like you said the other day, you're just basically trying to get ready for the postseason, even though that's a ways down the road. That's the thing at the end of the line.
Yeah, for sure. And especially with, we have a pretty new lineup this year, lots of inexperienced guys, but we have some talented kids. And so we're just trying to figure out from a coaching standpoint what our lineup should look like offensively and defensively. The kids are trying to figure those things out too. And, offensively, we've been very, very happy with where we've been at. We feel like we're ahead of schedule. Our approach to the plate has been phenomenal. Our guys are really locked in there. We've been hitting the ball well against some good pitching as well. Defensively, that's kind of where we have to figure some things out, and that's a little different for us. We've really hung our hat on that side of the baseball for a long, long time, and so we feel like we'll improve there. It'll help to have some practices. Obviously, we haven't had that yet, but as the year goes on, we just keep telling them, yeah, there's going to be some struggles, there's going to be some growing pains, but ultimately our goal is to be playing our best baseball in the postseason. And so you have to be tough enough to kind of work through some of these things, and it's not always going to go your way, and you might have to do some things that maybe you don't want to do, but it's going to help the team. And like I said, at the end of the year, hopefully we can put some things together.
I guess yesterday's game at Ada is exactly what you're talking about. I mean, you scored 10 runs, but then there were some errors and some walks.
Yeah, we hit the ball really well and against some very good pitching, and just struggled in the field. And I think some of those things are going to come. It's not time to push the panic button yet, but it's obviously something that we need to improve on. You can't win baseball games with 7+ walks and a couple hit batters and 7 errors, 8 errors, whatever it ended up being. You're never going to win baseball games like that, no matter how well you hit. And so we have to clean some of those things up. But like I said, it's not let's not panic. Let's just keep plugging along. Let's try and improve and work on those little things that we know will work. And we have good kids. We have talented kids. And so we just have to keep getting better. And I think this group will do that.
Okay, when it comes to pitching, let's talk about the guys who will see some time on the mound.
Yeah, it is just a really interesting thing to have as a coach, that you have 12 guys right now dressing varsity, and all 12 of them throw and pitch for you. And when we're working in practice, who pitches every single guy. So it takes a long time to get through that, and we're very fortunate to have that depth. And we've had obviously guys back like Ryan Dupong back from last year, Mitchell Mullery, Jacob Rudy, Tucker Jernis, Tanner Vig, but Will Kristen's pitched this year already a little bit, and Parker Nelson's thrown for us this year, and Darian's pitched for us, Darian Holzer, and Brody Sather's pitched for us this year already, and Dawson Bailey pitches for us, and so we just have a lot of different options to go to depending on the game. And like I said, right now for us, it's when this kid pitches, what does the defensive lineup look like? And normally in the past, we've had a pretty good idea of that. And this year we're still trying to figure out who's going to play these certain positions, and how are you going to get them in the right spots to have success defensively. And so that's the work in progress. But yeah, pitching for sure, that's been something that we've been very happy with.
Well, you've been kind of all over the place. You've been to Red Lake Falls, down to Seabird Field for that game against Norman County, Eastfield, and Hitterdal. And then, of course, you had a home, quote-unquote, home game at Winnie Mac the other day. And then, of course, at Ada yesterday. So you're putting on a few miles early in the year.
Yeah, for sure. And usually we do. Our field's one of the later ones to get on. And then we put in our sprinkler system last fall. And so we're kind of waiting for those trenches to heal up, so to speak, and dry out, mainly so that we're not risking injury. We're not so worried about the baseball itself out on the trenches, just our student athletes and our opponents too. And so, but we think that that's going in the right direction, and hopefully we'll be out this Friday at home, and then next week, and we'll just be moving forward with that for the rest of the year. But early in the year, we've said forever we'll play. We just want to get out and play, and it doesn't matter if we have to go on the road. And Winnie Mac was very nice to let us go over and play over there, and they've done that so many times in the past. I think we've probably played a dozen baseball games over at Winnie Mac when our field hasn't been ready, and they're always nice to let us do that, and we appreciate that. And so that's kind of where we're at. We if we can get on a field, we'll go, and if we can play, if the weather's good enough, we'll do it, and it doesn't have to be at home as much as you want to be at home.
Our guest is Fosston Greyhound baseball coach Ryan Hanlon. And Ryan, your thoughts in Section 8. You've got the teams that have been quote-unquote contenders for several years, maybe a few teams flying under the radar a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. I said at the beginning of the year, I think this is one of the strongest sections that I've been around in my 17 years, from top to bottom at least. Obviously, you have the Sacred Hearts and the Red Lake Counties at the top. They were the two last year that were at the top, and both return a lot, and so they're going to be the two favorites. But there's just so many teams just right there, too, that could beat anyone on any given day. You have Winnie Mac, who's been playing really well this year. Bagley's up and coming. Fertile's been playing better. Ada Bort West is obviously in that mix. They got a very good team. We feel like we're kind of right in that mix, too, if we can compete, if we can clean some things up. And obviously the West Marshalls and the Northern Freeze is really having a good year, and I think has some big expectations this spring, too. And so I think from top to bottom, the section is really strong. You're going to have all those teams like Black Duck and Mahnomen Waban that always play the game the right way and contend. We saw what Mahnomen Waban did at the end of last year, the run they went on, and they got a lot of their guys back, and they've been playing well. And so I do think from top to bottom, our section's one of the strongest it's been in a long time, if not the strongest. But then, of course, you have those couple teams at the top.
Okay. Before I let you go, let's run through the coaching staff. I know not a lot of changes, but it's a great staff you've got.
Yeah, I've been very, very fortunate to have such a great staff for so long. And, Dan Gutterud has been with the program since it started and has been my assistant since I started 17 years ago. And Mike Ofstedal is one of my assistants, and he's been with the program every year but 2 now. And Brad Norland's back as an assistant as well, and Brad's been awesome. And I think this is his 9th year now already. And then Jesse Sather too is back, and it's nice to have Jesse. He just adds so much, and from just a different perspective to have. And so our staff has stayed together for a long time now, and I'm very fortunate to have those guys.
Okay, sounds good, Ryan. Thanks for the update. Good luck to you and the Greyhounds this season. Thanks for sharing your time.
Thanks so much, Tom.
There's more at 104. Hillsborough, North Dakota has everything you need on your next road trip. Food, fuel, fun, and family-friendly activities. Stop by and fill up your tank or grab a bite to eat. Have a blast at Goose River Golf Club, the swimming pool, or one of our beautiful parks. There's even ice skating and cross-country skiing. Take in the sights or stay the night so you don't miss a thing. Experience Hillsborough and see why there's more at 104.
Parenting is hard for all of us. And so providing those little resources that we can share for those conversations that are hard to have, and to kind of be that icebreaker for both professionals, parents, and then open up that conversation to the more engaging conversation that's needing to be had.
Being a parent myself, oftentimes it's the simple things that make a difference.
As a busy parent myself, just engaging with your kids, making it an everyday thing so they know that you're there, they can always come to you when those difficult situations do arise.
Contact Trail District Health Unit in Hillsborough for more information.
Sharing our heritage, sharing our future. Choosing the right bank for your financial needs can be challenging with the many choices available. Dakota Heritage Bank is pleased you're interested in knowing more about what they can do for you. The Dakota Heritage Bank community bank setting is a strong advantage they have over larger, less personal banks. Customers are more than account numbers, they are friends and neighbors. Working together, Dakota Heritage Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Join us here from the Central Cast baseball team is Dustin Maasjo, as it's crazy to think we're kind of at that midway point of the season, the last week of April, and once you get to May, just a few weeks before the postseason. Dustin, the one thing I've heard from coaches all year, and it stems with every season, right? How much can you get on the field with weather and do everything else? But I think the first thing we have to talk about is just the new turf that you have in Castleton. How is that going from a practice opportunity? How is that going from games? We've been able to see colleges, and North Dakota State Science has came down on there. So just first things first, how's the new turf field, in Castleton?
It's been amazing. With the girls having their turf years ago and stuff, and we talked about how they were on the field and we weren't on the field, and we weren't able to practice on the field. And oh my gosh, we're on the field, and it's been amazing. Like you said, we've had NDSCS, got to watch Carter play on the field a little bit with those guys in pitch and stuff. So that was fun, and hosting them and stuff. But just the availability of practice and everything, we can be on the field. It snowed on the one Wednesday or Thursday or whatever it was, and Friday we went out and moved snow around a little bit, and by Sunday it was pretty much gone. I mean, the turf heats it up so much. So it's been huge for us to be able to be on the field early this year.
Yeah, it's the nice thing too, because sometimes, depending on where you get the snow, depending on where the low spot is, you might be able to do infield work, but you can't do outfield work, or vice versa. That's kind of gone now, right, Dustin? You can kind of, if you want to work on the infield, if you want to do stuff in terms of relays on how the ball comes off the fence and who you got to hit, you can work on everything. You don't have to say, well, we can only do this because this is what the field is allowing us to do here today.
It's true. We can do everything. We've hit from home plate many times and stuff, and in the past you've seen it, other teams, we haven't been able to play. We can play catch on the outfield and maybe hit from our right field corner and stuff, but we couldn't be on the infield. It didn't drain. It was bad. And then we'd go over and take ground balls on the softball field, but I mean, our third baseman is halfway to the fence from third base, because it's just shorter. The softball field is just shorter distance. So for practices, for everything, like it's just been huge to be able to be on there.
As we mentioned, midway point of the season here, just kind of what are your thoughts about the team early? I know you played some good competition so far in Region 1, taking a couple of games down in Lisbon. Last week, you obviously had a good competition with Northern Cass, who's loaded for bear. They got, it seems like, everybody back from a team that's got a lot of varsity experience here, Dustin. So just your thoughts on where you kind of are here this last week of April so far in the season.
It's been learning. I mean, we have a different team this year. Pretty much everybody. Only a couple guys that have came back that have played. I mean, had a varsity experience, and the region is tough. Our region is always tough. Right now Northern Cass sits on top, and you've got Kindred, and I mean the same ones. And then now we had Lisbon, who new varsity program, but they're not new to baseball. They played a lot of baseball, and that was a good tight game down in Lisbon. We're lucky to come away. I mean, timely hit here and a good eye at the plate to get a walk, to get a run in and stuff. And it's going to be tight. That region tournament is going to be whoever's hot at the right time. Other than probably like Northern Cass, their pitching and stuff is pretty solid. I mean, you're going to have to be on, and they're going to have to be off one night, I think. But other than that, I mean, anybody's got a shot. I mean, Oak Grove, Enderlin, you get up and down the lineup and stuff. You just never know.
As you go through this particular week, you guys are going to be back on the diamond tomorrow. You got a game with Enderlin for Region 1. Then you got some really good competition in two teams, as yourself made it to state last year for a triangular there in Castleton, begin at 10 o'clock in the morning with yourself and Thompson. Then you got Thompson and Grafton roughly at noon, and then you'll go up against the Spoilers after that at 2 o'clock, Dustin. So what do you want to see from the rest of this week? And then, you go to a region rival game on Tuesday with the Vikings, and then you all of a sudden you look up, and as we kind of joked, you're 2 weeks away from finding out who you're going to play and where the games are going to be for that May 14th Region 1 tournament. But what do you want to see from your team going forward here with some good competition over the next couple of weeks?
The one word that we're going to talk about today, too, is aggressiveness. We need to be more aggressive at the plate, kind of a controlled aggressiveness, because you'll hear me yell sometimes, aggressive in the zone. We weren't so much last night against Northern Cass. We struggled at the plate a little bit, didn't put a lot of balls in play, and I want to see that going forward. We have 2 counters tomorrow night against Enderlin at home. I want to see us be aggressive. That's going to kind of be our talk today before we start practice even, and then going into Saturday, it's going to be, hey, we were at state last year. Thompson was at state. Grafton was at state. These are going to be good teams. They graduated some. We graduated some. I just want to see us be more consistent and play solid baseball, which we started out, before last night. We played pretty solid baseball. Maybe one bad inning against Kindred, and that was about it. But I just want to see the consistency in us being aggressive.
As a coach at this time of the year, Dustin, what makes this time of the year different when you can get out and maybe get 8-10 games before you kind of week? We always kind of joke, I know between yourself and other coaches, I always kind of joke, Enderlin Baseball Jamboree, are you going to get 1 or 2 games in, or are you going to get 10 or 11 by then? Because we've had years of both, just in the last handful of years. So what does getting out early help for these particular, kids and players, whether they're JV, whether they're varsity, whether it's their first time on a field? What does it do differently compared to you've only played one game and you're playing the what if game every day on whether or not you can get on the field to practice or get a game in because of Mother Nature?
I think the biggest thing in years past, we've had varsity experienced guys. Some guys have played 2 years, some guys have played 3 years and stuff. So when we weren't able to get on the field, it was okay. I want to see, like, this group with less varsity experience. I want to see them perform in practice. And like we were talking, like Coach Mavis and I were talking earlier this morning, we were talking about practice and stuff, like ramping up the intensity a little bit more. We're halfway through the season, like you said, and Enderlin region games tomorrow night, and then Kindred the next week, and we're done with most of the teams. We've only got a few teams left to play. So the practice part is going to be really big. Today, I'm hoping for a really good practice. We're going to, have a really good discussion about our aggressiveness and stuff, and talk about some mental things about the game, and I'm hoping that we get past a couple things that we're struggling with and have a good practice, and that leads us into Enderlin and having a good game, or two good games, 2 sevens tomorrow night. So.
One thing for me, Dustin, is baseball a sprint or is it a marathon, particularly at the high school level? And I know the answer is probably, well, how many games do we get in before May the 1st? Because it's kind of felt like a sprint almost to a degree where you're playing everybody very similar to Enderlin tomorrow, where you're playing 2 sevens, where you got to strategize on what you're doing for pitching. But then you go Thursday and you're playing another 2 sevens, and Friday you're maybe getting a region counter in. So you got 5 games, and how do you get through all the innings and how do you get through the staff? So is it a sprint or a marathon when it comes to high school baseball as a coach?
I think in the spring, and we've had springs in the past where it feels like a marathon because we're inside, like it takes forever. And then when we get outside, it's like a sprint because boom, we played Kindred early. We played, Hankinson. We've played Oaks, and then Northern Cast twice, and Enderlin twice, and we're done with them. And it feels like a sprint now because we're getting emails about the region tournament and stuff, and I'm like, we're halfway through the season, but next week we're 3/4 of the way through the season, and we're 2 weeks away from tournaments, like you said, and it's a sprint. Like you said, after May 1st, and when you can get outside early like we could, it makes a difference to be on the field and stuff, and sprint our way to the region tournament, I guess.
Hey, Dustin, as always, thanks so much for your time. Looking forward to seeing you soon again at the Ball Diamond, and best of luck to you and your boys coming up here this week hosting Enderlin. Then again, a really good triangular with the Tommies and the Spoilers coming to town on Saturday.
Thank you very much for having me, Chase. I appreciate it.
And again, the head coach for Central Cast, Dustin Maasjo, for Squirrels Baseball here on yourliveevent.com. Join us here from the Sargent County Bulldogs is James Throener as he's making his way to the 2025 North Dakota Shrine Bowl. James, just what does it mean for you to be nominated and representing the Bulldogs here coming up in Mayville?
It's a real honor as a player and as a leader of the team. I was limited to this year's games and wasn't sure if I was going to make it. So it's really an emotional game for me because it's going to be my last one, and knowing that it's going to be my last one is really something special to have.
I know for Sargent County, you've played 11-man, you've played 9-man last year as well. When you were a junior, there was a lot of Bulldogs that made their way to Mayville. So what does it mean to be the next generation to kind of continue to leave that legacy of Bulldog players representing the school district there with Sargent County with the 3 school districts here, James?
Yeah, we had, 5 guys last year, and they were all rooting for me this year, which was something really special. They were really trying to get me there. They said the experience was fun. So, it's really special to be one of those guys, to get chosen for that Shrine Bowl. And it really makes a good person feel good about themselves,
When you go back through your favorite football memory as a player, as a fan, just what's a couple of memories that come to mind for you?
So I got my top 2 memories. First would be Hankinson homecoming junior year. Is the best game I played all year. I had 200 rushing yards, a few touchdowns, a pick 6. That game was really fun. It was our tightest game of the season, which brought a whole new level up to it for junior year. This year, I would say it had to be homecoming against what is it? God, dang it. Mayport. We played Mayport. I had 3 touchdowns of my own, got 26 touches on the ball. So, I was a big part of that game, and even post game, I felt it, but it had to be my favorite memory of all time.
Take us through some words of advice for the next generation that's coming up. If someone wants to be in your shoes, James, and have an opportunity to play in an all-star game in their respective sport, what would be some words of advice that you like to pass down for that next generation coming up?
I think first thing is work ethic. You got to be able to put in the work. If the coach tells you to do something, you got to do it 100%. There's no doubt about it. Even take it to the next level. You can do it 110%, stay after practice, do a few more drills. I think it's all about the work ethic, and that's going to be the main thing.
Mentioned coaches, from Coach Eric Olson to the assistant coaches. What's one thing that you've kind of learned from them that you've taken with you outside of the football field in your day-to-day life?
The biggest thing they said is, no matter what you do, be the best at what you do. And I think that's something that is very empowering. You may not like it in the time on what you're doing, but just be the best possible human being that you can. And it's really been impactful in my life.
When you saw the rosters that came out, James, there's always region rivals. There's, guys that you maybe see on social media with some highlights that you don't get to play because they're not in your neck of the woods. But was there one player or multiple players that you're like, all right, I finally get to have you on my side of the football for a change, or anything like that come to mind?
I'd say one guy that sticks out to me, it would be T. Silling. We played him in the first game, and he hit me pretty hard a few times, but we did get the best of him. We ended up winning that game, which was really fun to get that first win. And then another guy that sticks out to me would be Owen Lesko from Lemoore. He's a pretty big dude, and I'd say it's pretty nice to have him on my side of the football because he's a pretty scary guy.
When you look at just the week of practice, the game itself, what are you most looking forward to, I guess, putting on the shoulder pads one more time here?
I think it's going to be the memories, getting to put on the helmet, like you said. I think it's going to be meeting all the new guys, seeing what they like about football, what I like about football, and just getting along with them and playing that one last game.
And at NDSU, just take us through what made NDSU the right choice for you, James. What's your plans on studying, and once you kind of get to the fall?
I went to NDSU. I toured it. I've always wanted to go to NDSU ever since a little kid. I've been a fan of the Bison. So I think NDSU is just the right fit for me. I wanted to choose agribusiness because of my ag background and growing up on a family farm and raising cattle. It's always been just a part of who I am. So I think that degree would help me come back to the farm and bring the operation the best that it can be.
How much does farming help in football?
I'd say work ethic is a big one. Parents always expect the most out of you. That would be the biggest thing that's helped me throughout sports is working on the farm and knowing how to work. And also the toughness, I'd say. Dad's a little tough on me, which is good, and it's helped me out quite a bit.
When it comes to superstitions, did you have to do anything before a football game, pre-game meal, listen to a certain style of music or anything of that nature, James, before you finally got to kickoff?
I'd say the biggest one was I'd say a prayer during the national anthem. I would bow my head to the Lord, and I'd say a good strong prayer before, and that helped me reduce my anxiety because I'd get a little worked up before games, and I think that was the biggest thing that helped me out.
When it comes to 9-man, you're pretty much playing every style of ball, offense, defense, special teams. So are you someone that likes to hit, or are you someone that likes to have the juke stick or the hit stick, so to speak, and deliver the lumber on either side, James?
Defense was tough for me. I get a little scared sometimes when the big guys coming down the gaps. So I'd say offense, most definitely. I just like running away from guys, making a man miss or two, and that's just the best part about football.
Final thing for me, James, when it comes to just school work itself, what was a class or two, a subject that you really like learning?
I'd say it would definitely have to be science. It's pretty straightforward, there's not a whole lot of critical thinking. So it's got a direct answer, and that's the best way to go for me.
Hey, James, congratulations again on making the Shrine Bowl, and best of luck for you going down the line here coming up at NDSU.
All right, thank you.
That does it for the YourLiveEvent.com Coaches Show. Make sure you join us for our last edition on Wednesday, April the 30th here for the school year of 2024-2025, as we will get you ready for the upcoming tournament season in spring athletics. That's coming up on the YourLiveEvent.com Coaches Show again next week, as presented to you by the Hillsborough Economic Development Corporation. Join us at 7 o'clock a week from tonight for our final edition of the YourLiveEvent.com Coaches Show.